Okay, hello, boys and girls. So we're gonna go ahead and plot our dot plots for men's and women's. I just wanted to point out that if we were in class, you would need to grab a piece of paper and create your line. Put your scale 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. At the bottom, write a category, and on the top, you would write the title of your dot plots. I'm gonna go ahead and point it out just by highlighting it in yellow. So, for example, we have the men's. That's your title, men's basketball team players, and at the bottom you see number of prior competitions. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that, but it's really important for you guys to know because in the future when they're asking you about a dot plot, don't just create the number line with the numbers and the dots. You have to make sure you title it and you put the category at the bottom. So let's go ahead and plot the first data set, which is the men's team. And you're supposed to use the previous slide also because the previous slide has the completed table. And you can plot a dot plot using the table or the data set. So in this case, we're going to go back and forth. 0, the frequency is 10. And you can also see it on the data set because you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means that you're going to put 10 dots on top of a 0. So the dots represent 10 people answering the question. How many prior competitions did you have before you started this basketball team? So take that under consideration. It's a symbol, it's a graphical representation, and you always have to think about, like, okay, it represents something. In this case, an answer to a question. So there are my dots. It's not, and it's a little bit of spacing. So just take the time to do that. Mm, I tend to be a perfectionist, so it bothers me when I see that it's not super perfect. Um, but that looks pretty okay. So I finished with the 0. So let me go back to the table, and the next number is 1. The frequency is 1, and I also see that there's only a 1 here. So uh, above 1, I'm just going to put a dot. That means 1 response. The next number is 2. The frequency is 0, so that means I'm not going to put any dots at all. No dots. After 2, it's 3. The frequency is 1. So I'm going to put a dot under 3. And if you ever question, just go back to the data set. And as you can see, you only see 1, 3. So that's 1 dot. You don't see any 4s. So you don't put any dots under 4. And that's also evident here on the data set. The table, because next to the 4, there's a 0. Now let's go ahead and do the women's. For the women's, we're going to start at 0. Do we see any zeros here? Yes. 1, 2, 3. So that means that we're going to put 3 dots above 0. When you look at the table for the women's, here next to the 0, there's a 3. So that confirms that there's going to be 3 dots above the 0. Our next number is 1. How many ones do we see on the data set for the women? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that we have to place 4 dots above the 1. Again, go back to the table, confirm. Next to the 1, you see a 4, so that means 4 dots. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and just be very patient. Just make sure you get the 4 arrows in order to move the dot. Our next number is 2. How many 2s do you see on the data set? 2. Let's look at the table. Next to the 2, there's a 2. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 dots above the 2. Next number is 3. 1, 2, 3. I see 3 on the data set on the table. Next to the 3, there's a 3, so that confirms that we need to place 3 dots above the 3. And again, the dots represent how many people answer that question. Okay, and there you go.